Hi everyone, I'm Charles Ressler, and this is Holy Crap, How Did This Happen? A weekly podcast taking you to the most unique places and meeting the most interesting people. So, the Holy Crap, How Did This Happen moment of the week goes to Katie Epstein. A few weeks ago, she was on the show. We styled her for a shoot for Seven magazine, and she got the cover. Woot woot! So, congratulations to Katie. We absolutely adore and love you, and we hope you'll come back to the show. And check it out. She's got some really interesting tips inside the magazine. Hi, I'm Charles Ressler, and this is Holy Crap, How Did This Happen? My weekly podcast taking you to some of the most exciting places on earth with some of the most interesting people. Our guest this week is Lana Israel. Lana is one of the pioneers of mind mapping. Starting at 12 years old, she lectured at universities around the world. From there, it was Harvard and then Oxford Rhodes Scholar. And she's got some super interesting ideas as it applies to music and education. As well, she's worked with labels such as EMI, Universal, Columbia, and we're here to talk about what it takes to be a musician in today's day and age, and also some interesting concepts around how music can inform education. You've worked with some of the greatest names in music and some of the most important industry people, and you're regarded as a leader in that industry. And we're in downtown Las Vegas right now. We're building a major arts and culture scene here, and I wanted to sort of talk to you about some advice or some things that you think young musicians here in downtown Las Vegas and around the world could really draw on to get their career started.
Sure.
So what do you think the top 3 starting points for someone who wants to be a recording artist would be?
I think the first is to really perfect your craft. It is a craft. It takes practice. I know that kind of we see the American Idols of the world and The Voices and don't get me wrong, a lot of talented people on these shows singing, but I think it's led a lot of people to believe that this happens overnight. And you're unknown, and within a couple of months you're known, and you're selling records. And the reality is that most people who quote unquote have made it in this business have worked at it for years and years and years, and have worked through rejection after rejection after rejection. There are countless examples of artists whose first records tank, and when they kind of break through, it's record 2 or 3 or 4. There are countless examples of successful artists telling you about how when they started out, they were singing to a room of 2 people who, whoever would book them, singing to a room of 2 people who were not even paying attention to the artist. So I guess this is kind of like twofold advice. One is you gotta practice. You have to perfect the craft. It is a craft. You have to persist. You have to stick with it, and you have to have thick skin.
Sure. Wow. What do you think the importance of understanding the actual business side of music is for an artist? I
think it's unbelievably important. Thank you so much for asking that question. I think it's unbelievably important, especially in this day and age of kind of where the music industry's at. The way I look at it, Charles, and I've said to the aspiring artists that I believe that they need to view themselves as the CEO of their company. Their company is their brand, but the artist has to be the CEO. I feel like days are gone where an artist should, and yes, it takes a team, but I think days are gone when an artist should expect people around them to have all the answers and to guide and lead them. Some of the most successful artists I've seen guide and lead and have clear vision and direction themselves. And absolutely, you surround yourself with a wonderful team. But I believe that like the knowledge, the vision, the leadership ought to come from the artist. I mean, it doesn't always, but when it does, I think that's a really, really good ingredient for success. And so I would encourage every aspiring artist to pick up some books, start reading about how the industry works, in turn get a job at music business,
management, label, agency,
labels, publishing, right? I think the more one can learn, the better equipped they are to succeed.
So we've talked a lot about building a narrative as an artist and the importance of that, and that really you cannot get engagement from major industry players until you really have some form of a narrative to go in the door with.
Yep.
And can you talk a little bit about what that means and how it's applied for a musician?
Absolutely. I mean, in this day and age, a musician is building a brand. The brand is their own personal brand, but a lot of what happens in the music business now is based on the strength of that brand. And, it's fascinating. There's this little thing that exists now that didn't exist when I started working in the music business, which is called social media.
Right.
But there are all sorts of ways for an aspiring artist to start to, in a grassroots way, and I'm saying a grassroots way because I'm talking to people who don't have major label support and don't have a marketing promotion team helping build that platform for them. But there are all sorts of ways to start to build your brand, and through narrative, through people getting a really clear sense of who you are as an artist, what you stand for, what your music is about, what your personality is. I mean, people are looking at you as a whole person, and it's interesting. And so I believe there are lots of touch points for an aspiring artist to be able to do that in this day and age, in addition to getting out there and playing and performing, and kind of cutting your teeth, so to speak. And it's really, really essential because, I mean, as you said, Charles, that's what labels look at. They're gonna look at how strong is his or her following and what kind of traction do they have as a pretty much essential requirement to decide if they want to start working with that person. So yes, go forth and prosper. I mean, I think musicians today, gone are the days of, hey, I'm going to just sit around in the studio and create my art and other people will find it and come to me. I think musicians have to be extremely proactive, extremely smart and strategic, and be willing to work really, 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 really hard.
Whoa.
Yep.
That's a lot of hard.
It's a lot of really. big amount.
So
of
I could talk to you all day. I mean, and I probably will when this is over. I'm lucky. Sorry, guys. But I just want to talk about one more thing because you've been a mentor to me, and I don't think I would have been able to achieve some of the things that I did in the music business without having met you and knowing you as a friend. So can you talk to me about the importance of mentorship in the music industry specifically, and also maybe some tips about how to go and find a mentor?
Wonderful question. I think mentorship's important in every industry, and what I'm excited to see is it's becoming a hot word recently. I think there are a lot of wonderful people, more so recently, but a lot of wonderful people and organizations who are into the notion of mentorship. And it is hugely important to be able to learn from someone who has kind of made the mistakes already and can steer you in the right direction. And I know a lot of young, energetic, excited, aspiring people sometimes believe they have all the answers, and there's a lot of wisdom that comes from experience. And so, yeah, I agree that mentorship is hugely important. Now, how do you go about finding that mentor? I would suggest that someone be kind of unabashedly persistent and start reaching out to people that do your research and come up with a list of who you think your target mentors are, and then reach out to them. And again, thanks to this thing called the internet and email and social media. And I'm laughing because I remember when I was in college and email was created and they gave us an email account, and we were like, what are we supposed to do with this? And they're like, you use that to send messages to people. And I said, why do I need to do that? I've got a telephone. So I'm just bringing that up to say it's now possible to contact people that you would have no access to 10, 15, 20 years ago. Would be unheard of to be able to reach out to a major label person and even connect with them. And I'm not saying you're necessarily going to get a response, but go for it. The other thing, and I know some people have different points of view on something like this, I think it's really important to be in a city that has a lot going on in the music scene. So I live in Nashville right now. If you're an aspiring songwriter, move to Nashville. I mean, you see all day, you see people getting in and out of cars with guitar cases, and it's what people
Find your
do all
tribe.
day. Yeah.
Find your tribe.
Exactly.
Cool. Lana, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, pleasure.
Love you.
Love you too.
I'm Charles Ressler, your host, and this is Holy Crap, How Did This Happen? Holy crap, how did this happen is really the question. If you want to know more about Lana, reach out to me through my website, charlesressler.com. And one of my core competencies is friendliness, so be sure to reach out, and I'm always open to helping people find their mentors or find their way in the world. It's sort of what I'm here to do. So enjoy the rest of your week. Hi, I'm Charles Ressler, and here are 5 tips if you're an aspiring musician. When you're starting out in the music industry, as a singer-songwriter or any type of musician really, the number one thing to do is look at yourself as the CEO of a startup. You're an entrepreneur and you're building a business. So the bottom line is, as much as all you want to do is play music, the best thing you can do is equip yourself with the tools that you're going to need to build a successful business. The most important thing you can do as a musician is build your audience. The best way to do that is to have a weekly or monthly gig in the same spot where everyone knows you're going to be every month, and start building an audience of fans that want to see your shows and come out to support you. That way, record labels will see that you have the ability to build organic audience. As a musician, it's so wonderful to be on a stage and get all the applause and have fans, but the most important thing you can do is love your fans no matter how they feel about you. Loving your fans, engaging with them on social media, finding cool and unique ways to thank them is how you build brand evangelists over time. And essentially, brand evangelists are the people who make or break careers. So make sure you're treating your fans the way you would want to be treated if they were your best friends. Here's a wonderful tip for finding a mentor. Jump on LinkedIn and start to look at who represents the artists that you believe that mirror your own sound. Then you can start reaching out to them through social media or email, but LinkedIn is a great tool to find industry experts that can help you on your journey.
Guest tip: when managing artists, you want to tell them how pretty they are. Make sure you tell them how smart they are. Charles, you're so charming, Charles. Charles is so brilliant. And make sure that your manager is always looking out for you first.
She's awkward. Oh, I wasn't ready. Go.